Alright, so we got Zapdos. Now, Instinct, best team, best bird, best mascot. Zapdos factually beats Articuno and Moltres, so there's no discussion. Zapdos is the best mascot and the best legendary battle out of all three. Don't at me. Anyways, Zapdos is really freaking good for Flying Cup. It is really good as a switch and really good as a closer. Now, the thing about Zapdos in the Flying Cup is that in order to have a really good one, you actually need to Elite TM it. So if you're willing to spend the resource, if you actually even have one with Thundershock, then it's going to be really good for the Flying Cup. Now, here's the thing about Zapdos. Zapdos has really high attack, defense. Its defense is pretty dang low. It's a glass cannon propel. Defense is low, its stamina is high. So the thing about Zapdos is that Zapdos has it's stupid high attack, and the fact that Thundershock coupled with Drill Peck and Thunderbolt is a really great moveset. That's why it's so good. And you know what flying is weak against? Electricity. Yes, flying is weak against electricity. I know, that was really hard to figure out, right? Really hard to figure out. Anyways, so Zapdos has a lot of great resistances. The good thing about Zapdos is you actually resist flying attacks because of the electric typing. So that's what makes Zapdos really great. Not only do you actually you beat electricity, actually destroys whatever comes against you, it actually resists flying itself. So it's a really interesting mon along with Emolga, but that's Zapdos. Now here's the problem. Thundershock is legacy, and it's very expensive. So you just have to really be careful. If you're really willing to use the resources, like I said, if you're willing to use the resources, it's going to cost an Elite TM unless you already have a Legacy Thundershock one, and a lot of Stardust, and the candy too. So if you didn't raid Zapdos heavily in the beginning, it's very unlikely that you have the candy for PvP. So it's really expensive, and like I said, even though it's really great for the Flying Cup, be very aware, you're going to spend a lot of things if you want to actually get ahead in the Flying Cup with Zapdos. Alright, so here's Zapdos. I put Zapdos and Shadow Zapdos in a matrix analysis against the Flying Cup meta just so it's easier to figure out. And we're going to start off with the 2 shields. Like I said, Zapdos is really dang expensive, so if you really want to use Elite TM, then go for it. But anyways, like I told you, we're analyzing both the regular and the Shadow version. We're analyzing the light side and the dark side of the Force. So anyways, here we go. So the interesting thing is, in the 2 shield scenario, Zapdos will lose against Aerodactyl. So don't use Zapdos to the lead. Please don't. It's a really bad idea. Like, really, really bad idea. The interesting thing is, the Shadow version actually beats the other version. The dark side actually beats the light side in the 2 shield. So in 2 shield scenario, Shadow Zapdos actually beats Emolga and Zapdos, which is really interesting. You fry Skarmory, so if Skarmory dies, you also beat Gligar with the regular version, but you don't beat it with the Shadow version. It's a really weird 2 shield scenario. Obviously, you're going to absolutely destroy Gyarados, but for some odd reason, you lose against Aquatail. I think this is bait dependent, so you can fry it to death. Just be careful in the 2 shields. But you don't want to use Zapdos in the lead. It's a fantastic switch and a fantastic closer. So you want it in the back with shields. That's ideally what you want. Because if you look over here, if you have shield advantage with Zapdos, you beat a whole lot of things. You beat a lot of things. Again, I would go over this and analyze, but you beat so many things with shield advantage, even if you're up and you have no shields. So if you're up a shield, you beat a lot of things. As you see here, being up a shield, you even beat Aerodactyl. So a Zapdos with a shield will wreck shop against the entire Flying Cup meta, which is really nuts. Like I said, worthy investment, up a shield, Zapdos wrecks. In even shield scenarios, so we did the 2s, we did to the 1s, and Zapdos with shield advantage. This is Zapdos in the 1s. Zapdos in the 1 shield, it's really interesting because the Shadow beats itself. The Shadow beats the light side. The regular version beats Emolga and Articuno. You lose against Shadow Articuno just because of Ice Shard, Icy Wind. I think that's bait dependent too. You beat Skarmory. You lose against Altaria. You lose against all dragons except Dragonite. Well, some Dragonites. Like, this is really weird. But in the 1 shield, you'll beat Gligar, you'll beat Togetic, you'll beat Gyarados, you'll beat all versions of Gyarados, you'll beat Lugia, you'll beat Ho-Oh, you'll beat Tropius, you'll beat Drifblim too. So you beat a lot of things in the 1 shield with Zapdos. That's what makes it such an incredible switch. Now, if you get Aerodactyl switched into you, you can cry. You can cry. But what makes Zapdos really powerful is not just one shield, but in the closer. So Zapdos as a closer is really powerful. You beat Aerodactyl in the closer. If Aerodactyl doesn't have a shield, it dies. Obviously, both versions are going to neutralize itself. You beat Amoga, you beat Articuno, you beat Skarmory, you beat... you don't beat... You actually, like, simultaneously knock out against Gligar, but you beat Gligar, you beat Gyarados, you beat so many things in the closer. This is what makes Zapdos the #1 closer in rankings. It beats so many. You'll lose against Dragonite, but you beat so many things. You even beat yeah, you'll lose against the Dragons, but you'll beat a lot of other things. So Zapdos is an incredible switch. An incredible switch as well as a fantastic closer. Again, Zapdos with a shield. If you do this, Zapdos with a shield beats the entire meta. As long as you have a shield, you'll wreck Zapdos. You'll wreck with Zapdos. So Zapdos is very, very powerful. Now, here's the summary. So Zapdos is really strong. The only thing that's really bad is it's really expensive. It's super expensive. If you look over here and you run Zapdos in the rankings, Zapdos is ranked very high because electricity just runs through the Flying Cup. Like I mentioned before, with the shield, Zapdos actually beats the entire, like up a shield, Zapdos beats the entire meta. As you see here, overall in the one shield, Zapdos is the #2 pick. It does beat, it's the only mon that actually beats Amoga as electricity. Unless it's Shadow Zapdos, but yeah. Well, Shadow Zapdos is technically Zapdos, so yeah. But it's very strong, extremely powerful, and it only has a few key losses. For example, Aerodactyl and the Dragons. So unless it's Aerodactyl and the Dragons, you will be fine. And like I said, as long as you're in the zeros or you have a shield against Aerodactyl, you beat Aerodactyl. So Zapdos is very powerful. There's not a lot of things that oppose it. Again, summary, stupid expensive. Costs, unless it's expensive AF. So if you're not willing to shout out 100k dust, spend all that rare candy and use, and another thing is IVs. So Zapdos, if you run a sim on, let's say you run Aerodactyl, and I'm gonna run just a really crappy IV one against Aerodactyl. So let's assume you, well, let's, the best one for like Flying Cup is still a really high IV, but let's assume you have like a 10, 14, 15, something of that sort, and then you run the scenario. You still beat it, but like I said, IVs matter. Like I said, up a shield, its key matchup is against Aerodactyl because it beats it in the back. Aerodactyl is likely going to be in the lead, so if you lose the lead or if Aerodactyl is in the back, you beat it again. As long as you have a shield, you're up a shield, or like it shows here, you'll beat Aerodactyl as long as you are up a shield, or if you're in the zeros. So this is what, or in the one shield. So you'll even beat it in the one shield. So as long as Aerodactyl doesn't have 2 shields in any scenario, you'll beat Aerodactyl with Zapdos. That's what makes it really strong. But again, super expensive. Be very careful. If you guys have any questions, please put in the comments. And if you want me to analyze anything else, please put in comments as well. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you on my next video, on my next analysis.